What if Ty's return to Heartland is not the happy reunion we've been dreaming of, but something darker? Imagine the moment Amy sees him again, only to realize he isn't the same man she once loved. What if his comeback shakes the entire family and reveals a truth no one saw coming? Ty's story in Heartland has always been one of the most powerful arcs in the series. From the very beginning, he wasn't the perfect hero. He had a troubled past, mistakes that haunted him, and anger that often pushed him in the wrong direction. But over time, we saw him grow. We saw how Amy's love and the support of the Fleming Bartlett family turned him into someone stronger, someone we could root for. That transformation is what made him such a beloved character. Fans connected to Ty not just because he was Amy's soulmate, but because he was a fighter. He fought to overcome his childhood struggles. He fought to find peace at Heartland. And later, he fought to build a future for Amy and their daughter, Lyndy. His story was about second chances, redemption, and the hope that no matter where you came from, you could build a better life. But then came the heartbreak. His absence left a hole in the show that could never be fully filled. For many viewers, it felt like the soul of Heartland was gone. Amy was left to raise Lyndy alone, and the ranch didn't feel the same without his quiet strength. The audience wasn't just watching a character disappear, they were grieving a part of the story that had defined the series for years. And yet, because of that pain, the idea of Ty's return has become one of the most powerful hopes among fans. People want to believe he could walk back into the ranch, hold Amy again, and bring the family back together. It's the dream ending so many of us wish for. But what if that return isn't the fairy tale we expect? What if his reappearance is meant to test Amy's strength once more, and to show us that not every homecoming leads to healing? That's where this theory takes root. Because if Ty were to return in season 19, the writers might not give us a clean, simple resolution. Instead, they could explore the idea that people change when they're away. Sometimes the person who comes back is not the same as the person who left. And in Ty's case, that could mean his return brings shadows instead of light. This possibility opens up a whole new direction for Heartland. A direction where Amy's journey is not just about love, but about resilience in the face of heartbreak all over again. Where the family must learn to protect themselves not from outside forces, but from the return of someone they once trusted completely for years. Heartland fans have held on to one hope above all else: Ty's return. It's almost like an unspoken wish that floats through every episode, every conversation, and every moment Amy stares off into the distance. The idea that one day, Ty could walk back through that familiar barn door, smile at Amy, and hold Lyndy in his arms. For many viewers, this is the happy ending they've been waiting for. The final piece of the puzzle that would make the Heartland family whole again. But here's the twist: stories like Heartland don't always work the way fans want them to. Writers love to play with our emotions, to build us up with hope and then throw us into shock. And if Ty ever does return, it may not be the magical reunion people are dreaming of. In fact, his comeback could be written in a way that shakes the very foundation of the series. Think about it. What if Ty's absence wasn't just a blank space in the story, but part of a deeper narrative the writers have been saving? What if the silence around his character is not about erasing him, but about preparing us for a darker re-entry? Fans imagine Ty stepping back into Amy's life as the same gentle, dependable man she loved. But the truth is, time changes people. Absence changes people. And sometimes those changes are not for the better. Imagine Ty returning, but he's different, colder, distant, or even burdened by secrets he can't share. The man Amy once loved could feel like a stranger. Instead of joy, his presence could bring confusion, fear, or even heartbreak. It would turn the reunion into something raw and unpredictable, something that forces Amy and the family to confront a much darker reality. And here's where the theory takes a chilling turn. Fans want Ty back because they miss the stability and comfort he brought to the story. But what if his return is designed to destroy that comfort? What if it's meant to challenge Amy in new ways, not by losing Ty, but by facing the fact that the Ty she remembers no longer exists? This kind of storyline would keep viewers glued to the screen, because it's not just about romance anymore. It's about survival, trust, and the difficult truth that sometimes the past cannot be reclaimed. The beauty of Heartland has always been its balance between love, loss, and healing. If Ty's return follows this darker path, it could become one of the most powerful arcs in the show's history. Instead of being the man who makes everything right, Ty could become the man who forces Amy to grow even stronger. He could be the storm she never saw coming, the challenge that tests her faith, her loyalty, and her ability to protect her daughter from pain. Fans often dream of a reunion scene where Amy runs into Ty's arms, tears in her eyes, and everything feels whole again. But the theory suggests something more haunting. Amy seeing Ty, her heart racing with relief, only to realize something is off. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. His words carry weight she doesn't understand. He feels present, but not truly there, and in that moment, fans would know that his return is not the fairy tale ending, it's the beginning of a new conflict. The truth is, every fan theory exists because we want closure. We want Ty to come back and fix the story we feel was broken when he left. But what if the writers are telling us that life doesn't always work that way? What if his return is about showing the painful reality that love cannot erase scars, that some people carry darkness no reunion can heal? It's not the theory anyone wants to hear, but it might be the one that makes the most sense in a show built on facing life's hardest lessons. Every fan who dreams of Ty's return imagines the same thing: the warm smile, the reunion hug, the peace of knowing Amy and Lindy finally have him back. But what if that image is nothing more than a dream designed to soften us before the truth hits? The darker theory suggests that the Ty who comes back in season 19 may not be the same man who left. Time changes people. Pain reshapes them. And when someone disappears for as long as Ty has, they don't just return untouched. They return carrying scars, both inside and out. Imagine the Ty we once knew, the healer, the family man, the dependable partner, but now twisted by experiences we cannot even imagine. Instead of healing, he brings conflict. Instead of light, he brings shadows. Picture this. Amy sees Ty for the first time in years. At first, her heart races with joy. He's alive. He's here. But almost instantly, something feels wrong. His eyes don't shine the way they used to. His voice carries a weight, a distance, like he's speaking from a place far away. And when he embraces her, there's no warmth, only a coldness that makes Amy wonder if this man standing before her is really Ty, or a stranger wearing his face. The dark theory suggests that Ty's return isn't a gift, but a challenge. Perhaps he has been battling demons during his absence, demons he cannot control. Maybe he has secrets tied to his disappearance, secrets that, if revealed, could endanger the very people he loves. Or maybe he carries guilt, a hidden burden, something so heavy it's poisoned the good man he once was. This version of Ty could disrupt everything at Heartland. His return could bring tension instead of healing. Amy, once his anchor, might now feel like she's walking on thin ice every time she looks at him. Lindy, too young to understand, could see her father as a hero, while Amy silently questions if he's safe to be around her. Jack and Lou, protective as ever, might step in not to welcome him, but to guard Amy from the men she used to trust. Think of the drama this could unleash. Ty's presence would divide the family. Some would cling to the memory of the old Ty, desperate to believe he can be saved. Others would see the danger and push Amy to protect herself and Lindy. The ranch, once a place of healing, could become a battlefield of emotions. Every conversation, every look, every silence would carry the weight of doubt. And what if Ty himself knows he has changed? What if part of the darkness is his awareness that he is no longer the man Amy deserves? That knowledge could drive him into even deeper conflict. He could fight to hold on to the fragments of his old self while struggling against whatever has broken him. The tragedy would be that Amy, despite her love, might not be able to fix him this time. This is where the theory gains its deepest edge. Ty's return isn't about romance, but about facing the uncomfortable truth that sometimes love cannot erase the damage of the past. Sometimes the person we wait for comes back with shadows too dark to escape. And for Amy, that would mean confronting a choice she never imagined, holding on to the idea of the man she once loved, or protecting her daughter and herself from the man he has become. The beauty of this darker path is that it doesn't erase Ty's importance. In fact, it makes him more haunting, more unforgettable. His presence would no longer be about comfort, it would be about conflict, growth, and the painful reminder that life doesn't always give us back what we lose in the way we want it. If this theory is true, Ty's return would not be the end of Amy's struggles, but the beginning of her greatest test. A test that forces her to choose between her memories of the past and the reality of the present. A test that might shatter her heart all over again if Ty really does return in season 19. And if he returns as a man carrying shadows instead of light, then the biggest question isn't just what happened to him. It's what happens to everyone around him. Because the truth is, Ty's return would not only change Amy's life, it would ripple through every corner of Heartland, shaking the family and the ranch to its very core. Let's start with Amy. For her, Ty has always been more than a partner. He was her anchor, the one who balanced her wild spirit, who stood beside her through every storm, who helped her believe in love and healing. But what if that anchor no longer feels steady? Amy might welcome him with open arms, only to realize that something deep inside him has shifted. His touch feels unfamiliar. His words leave her unsettled. She would face the painful truth that the man she once trusted with her heart may not be the same man standing in front of her now. Imagine the heartbreak of wanting to believe in him, while every instinct warns her to be careful. Then there's Lyndy. She's too young to remember her father the way Amy does. To her, Ty's return would be a miracle. She'd see only the father she longed for, the hero she never had the chance to grow up with. She'd run into his arms with pure innocence, not noticing the cold distance in his eyes or the heavy weight in his voice. That innocence could make Amy struggle even harder. How does a mother protect her child from a man who is both her father and a stranger? Amy would be torn between shielding Lyndy from heartbreak and letting her believe in the father she deserves. Jack, the heart and protector of the ranch, would not ignore the change in Ty. Jack has always had a sixth sense when it comes to people, especially those who come close to his family. He was one of the first to trust Ty when he was a troubled boy, but he was also the one who demanded better of him. If Ty returns carrying darkness, Jack would see it right away. His loyalty to Amy and Lindy would push him into a silent war with Ty, not out of hatred, but out of love for his family. Jack would watch Ty's every move, ready to step in if the shadows inside him threatened those he cared about most. Lou, practical and protective, would be less forgiving. Where Jack might still hope for Ty's redemption, Lou would be more skeptical. She would remind Amy of the risks, question Ty's intentions, and push her sister to think of Lyndy first. To Lou, the man who left is not necessarily the man who came back, and her instincts would tell her to guard the family. This difference in perspective could spark conflict between Amy and Lou, creating cracks in the sisters' bond just when they need each other most. And then there's the ranch itself, the place that has always stood for healing, love, and family. With Ty's return, that sacred balance could be broken. Every corner of Heartland would carry tension. The barn, once filled with laughter, might now echo with silence and unspoken fears. The dinner table, where family came together, could become a place of guarded conversations and sidelong glances. Even the horses, often symbolic of calm and trust, might sense the storm hanging over the people around them. This fallout would make Ty's return not just a personal story, but a family-wide reckoning. Everyone would be forced to decide how much of the old Ty still exists, and whether the love they once felt for him is enough to overlook the shadows he now carries. For Amy, the choice would be the most devastating of all. Does she hold on to the dream of who Ty was, risking everything for the man she still loves? Or does she accept that the man before her might never be the same and protect her daughter at all costs? This is what makes the dark theory so powerful. Ty's return wouldn't be a simple reunion. It would be a test for Amy, for Lyndy, for Jack and Lou, and for the very heart of Heartland itself. It would force every character to confront the difference between memory and reality, between who someone was and who they've become. And in doing so, it could create one of the most unforgettable chapters in the history of the series.